Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Dr. Dennis Melendez, Program Director at Cientifico Latino, and thank you all for coming here to this webinar, Finding a Research Associate Position. I want to just ask you that you please write any questions that you have at any given time into the Q&A window, and then we will do our best to answer questions at the end. Additionally, if there are many questions along the way, some of these questions may be answered concurrently, just typed in. But again, please put them into the Q&A section and not the webinar chat. I'm going to introduce our speaker. So we have Maria Luiza de Oliveira, who is a first-year PhD student in the Department of Cell Biology at the University of California, Irvine. She received her BS in Biomedical Sciences from Universidade do Vale do Paraíba in Brazil. Prior to starting her PhD, she worked as a research associate at NYU Langone Health for over 2 years. As a first-generation college student, Maria is passionate about supporting and mentoring students from underrepresented backgrounds as they explore opportunities in research and graduate school. So, without further ado, Maria, please take over.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Dr. Melendez, for the introduction. Can everyone see my screen and hear me well? Can I have a thumbs up or something? I am really, really excited to talk to you guys about my journey, finding my position, and how you can find your own position. Just a fun fact about me is that before I started as a research associate, I was actually working in the industry. So I worked in the industry for more than 4 years. And when I realized that that was not for me and I wanted to move to academia and do a PhD, I looked at my CV and I didn't have any research experience. It was very, very little. I'm going to show you my CV and everything. But this opportunity was the big opportunity for me to get to build my CV and be able to apply for a PhD and be accepted on a PhD. So today I'm just gonna follow you guys through my journey. And the presentation is a little long, so please don't, if you have any questions or anything, please send in the Q&A, as Dr. Melendez said. And I also want to know where you're talking from. So if you could please send in the chat where you're talking from and how's the weather there. So I'm talking from California, Irvine. It's actually very cloudy here today, but it's too early. It's 9 a.m. But okay, let's get started. Whoops. Okay, so the first thing I just want to go over how I'm gonna divide this presentation. So I'm giving this quick overview, then I'm gonna go over it about like where you can find these positions, the documents you need to apply for them, how is the interview process, and then in the end I'm gonna talk about specifically what's the situation for international students, which was my case. So as a quick overview, my position was called the research associate, but it can have different names. I would say the research associate is a beginner to intermediate level. Um, but it depends on the company, it depends on the university. It can be technician, research assistant. So RAs in general are research assistant and associate. I think we see that a lot. Just I have an RA position open. But it can also be called a junior specialist, assistant specialist, or lab manager in general. So for my experience when I was in NYU, everyone I know, including me, was under this research associate title. But here at UCI, they call it differently. It's junior specialist or senior specialist or like junior specialist 1, 2, and 3. So keep an eye on this. Don't be attached to RA or research associate only. I'm gonna be mostly using research associate, the term research associate, because this was my position in the past, but don't be attached to the name that much. Um, so why should you consider applying for these positions? First, in my opinion, is if you want to test or change your field. For example, for me, I applied right after I finished my undergrad. I didn't have a lot of research experience because I finished my undergrad during COVID, during the pandemic. So it was basically everything remote. And I had like not small, but like mostly writing and reading experience with thyroid cancer. And when I moved to New York, I I switched a little bit and I was working with melanoma, but still cancer. And still during my PhD, I'm also studying cancer. But you can change your field, you can test different things. I think it's a good opportunity to just explore in general. Or maybe if you didn't like your undergrad that much, but you took a class that was totally different from your major and you want to, explore the field more before you decide what you want to do for your PhD. Amazing. I think it's a really good way to do that. Also, good to fill your CV gaps if you have any. As I said, I was working in the industry the entire time during undergrad, so I didn't have time to do everything, to work in the industry, to be an undergrad and work with research. I did do that a little bit during COVID, but I couldn't have a lot of bench experience, wet lab experience that for my PhD applications was really, really necessary. So this opportunity really, helped me to fill that gap I had on my CV. And in general, it's good if you want to strengthen your PhD application. Even if you're not sure about if you want to apply for the PhD. I know some people that were 100% sure that they want to do a PhD and then they started the RA position or technician position, and then they saw that was not what they wanted to do for their life. So, it's good. You're gonna be on the same environment you're gonna be at when you're a PhD student. So, the research environment, you're gonna attend lab meetings, you're gonna work very close with postdocs and students. So it's good to be sure, if you really want to do a PhD or not. Um, okay, so the first block is gonna be where to find these positions. And I have I recommend this uh, three different ways. So the first one is through university's website. Then we have the social media platforms, and we have cold emails. So starting by the first one, this is really, really straightforward. I would say it's like the easiest way, I think. If you want to do it like right after this meeting, in 30 seconds, you can find the positions. And you basically just Google your university. It can be the university you're in right now, like where you did your undergrad, or if you want to move to another university for the RA position, the technician position. Um, I would just recommend not doing the technician position at the same place you did your undergrad research. If you did anything, like, just don't do technician position, I mean, undergrad, technician, then PhD in the same place. But if you just move a lab to a different lab, you're gonna have a total different experience. In my experience, I was in Brazil, so I didn't know anything. I was just typing like Googling like NYU careers, research associate, New York or like New Jersey. Sometimes I wouldn't even put the university specifically. So, just try all the combinations you can with all the names I mentioned before. And I did this again in 30 seconds. I found the exact same position I had when I was working at NYU. And you can see more than one because more than one lab has this position open. And you can basically apply. If you click here, there's something like apply here, apply now, something like this. You can apply directly through there. Really, really straightforward. The second way that I really like um, are the social media platforms. I know it seems a little weird, but trust me, there's a lot out there. The first one, of course, LinkedIn. Um, LinkedIn is a really good place to to be noticed, I would say. You can have everything. You can put your CV, all your information. It's gonna be there. Um, so take your time, filling your LinkedIn and keeping it alive and active. Um, I know a lot of people probably know about it, but you basically go in the jobs tab, you type whatever name, all the combinations I said before. You can choose the place, and you can even choose other informations like the company and everything. And the good thing about this way to find this position is that you can find more than one company or university at a time. So, for example, here I found the exact same one that we were just discussing before here, but also other positions from Mount Sinai, from Pfizer. So, it's very easy to see multiple things, and you can apply directly through here. Um, I think actually if you apply through here, it's going to send you back to the same link that we were talking before. Um, but as I was saying, LinkedIn is very important. Everyone can access, it's basically your CV to the world. So keep it updated, keep it alive. Don't do like this. Don't, spend some time, put some effort, put at least a picture, your presentations, your projects. Just put everything you have in your CV, I would say. Um, in terms of research experience, professional experience, and build your connections. Networking is another very valuable way and easy, not easy, but like good way you can find these positions. For example, from my experience, um, my lab here at UCI is new, so we just completed 6 months, and we don't know anyone. Um, Now we have, I think, 5 or 6 people in the lab, and at least half of them were people referred to us from another PI or someone else. So sometimes, even if you're still doing your undergrad or a course or something, and there's a seminar at your university, attend the seminars, try to talk to the speaker, like just interact with people, ask questions, and build your connection on LinkedIn and in life in general. Because you would be surprised about how a single interaction can help you in the future. Um, Again, connect with people from your field, from fields you're interested in, and put some effort, like, comment, interact, just put yourself there. You need to be seen, I would say. Another social media platform that I love, and it was the exact position that the exact platform that got me my position, which is Twitter, called X now. I'm still not used with saying X, so I'm gonna say Twitter. And just to give you guys an overview, I basically got my position through a DM. So this is the exact screenshot from April 1st, 2022. And just a quick overview on my journey. So April 1st, it was the first contact. She got back to me the following day, which was Saturday, and we scheduled the first meeting for April 5th, which was 3 days after the first contact through email. I was not expecting to be like that, so be prepared. Um, First interview, April 5th, only with the PI, April 15 with the entire team. So I remember it was like, I don't know, maybe 10 people divided by three, like three groups, groups of 3 or 4 people. Um, and I'm gonna go over the interview process too, but it was very intense. On April 19, I got the offer, and it took a while for my visa to be approved. My first day at the lab was December 30th. So I just wanted to show you guys how I found my position and show you that my Twitter account was basically created exclusively to search for these open positions. So if you already have a Twitter account that you like, it's old, you don't use anymore, I would recommend to create a new one from scratch, then build your connections the same way we were discussing, um, build your connections on LinkedIn, build your connections on Twitter too. You follow people, you can DM people, like do not be weird, of course, like have some context, be polite. But there's a lot of people from the research community on Twitter, and I didn't know about that 4 years, 5 years ago. I had no idea. And they also post a lot about like new research, the papers and everything. Um, so this is my profile now. But at the time I was applying, I basically put something like this: recent college graduates seeking higher positions in cancer research. RA is a good term, like a general term. Um, instead of putting research associate, like just put RA, or you can also say you're thinking about doing a PhD, but I think leave it like simple, just straightforward, just so people know that you are open for these positions, and you can link your LinkedIn. So that's why you need to have everything updated. Um, and how can you find these positions on Twitter? Basically, you just go and you open the search bar, and you're gonna search open research technician positions, open research associate positions, technician positions, like all the combinations you can think of, just try them all. My lab is hiring. Try everything. So this search I did last week was like April 1st, something I don't remember exactly. And people are still using Twitter for that. So just keep an eye, you know. There's a lot of opportunities. If you see, they put the same link that we were discussing before on the carrier's website, but you can DM them. Um, I actually didn't find my position that way. I found it through someone else's post. So I just wanted to put here so you guys know that, there's no recipe. You can try different ways and you're gonna get your position. I am sure. So this person, he had just finished his undergrad in Berkeley, and he just posted his CV with all his skills and everything, and 42 people commented, and most of them were PIs just saying like this, like, we're looking for RAs, please send me a DM. Of course, you're not going to be emailing, like DMing everyone if they were talking directly to the person, but here specifically, she said, for anyone looking, feel free to reach out. So this is when I send this DM right after I saw it. So, just give it a try. Um, Another platform that you can use, that I learned recently, that it's kind of recent, and people are moving there, is Blue Sky. I actually created an account there to be able to check. I if you basically the I don't know if you guys have already um, used Blue Sky, but it's basically the same interface of Twitter. I actually did the same thing. I searched open research positions, and I did find some. I still think that most of them are in Twitter, but you need to be open and try all the places, all the options you could. Okay, so that's it in terms of social platforms. Now, cold emails. First thing, I did try this way. So all the ways I'm showing you guys, I did them all. So I finished my undergrad in December 2021, and I got accepted to my position in April. So it was actually more than 4 months because I was already searching and doing, everything even before I graduated. So it's a long way, I would say, but it's totally possible. You just need to try all the options, you know, just put yourself out there. Um, cold emails are basically emails that you like you didn't there's no position of it, like position open, but you saw a presentation, you watched live from that lab, you saw their website, um, and you got interested, you read a paper about them, and you just send them an email and say, "Hey, I'm interested." Not like that, but um, just ask if they have open positions. Important things. Keep track and never, never, never double email a lab. Um, I heard a lot of people like saying, "Oh, you should send 500, 2,000 emails." For me, this never worked. I think I sent a maximum of 20 emails. Because I like to be intentional on things, on the things that I do. Of course, you can send 1,000, but then you're gonna have a lot of room for mistakes. To double email a lab, maybe email the PI and the lab manager, or send an email to someone and put the wrong name on the email. So don't do that. Be intentional. Take your time. Don't send them all at once, or they're gonna go to spam. So don't do that. Another point: be really, really careful with AI. I know that everyone uses AI nowadays, but you don't wanna just send an email completely wrote by AI. Don't do that. And be persistent. Um, I don't, I'm not the biggest fan of templates in general because I think that people use them too much, rely on them too much. So I would suggest strongly for you guys to have your own template and have different templates too. Try different things like send like 5 emails, wait a couple of days, wait like 3 days, 5 days. If no one got back to you, maybe, just go over your template again, change some things. So don't be attached to one thing. And show this to other people so they can read and um, correct you if you need. But basically, if you want to follow a basic like organization outline, I would put who are you, um, mention their research or how did you find their research. It can be through an event, to a talk, course, a paper, whatever, through their lab website. Just show you're interested in their research. Talk about your experience and how your experience connect with their work. So since the beginning, I knew I wanted to do my PhD in cancer. I wanted to work with cancer. That's it. So all the labs I was applying to, they're all related to cancer. And I have a small background. I had at the time a small background in cancer, so I could, connect my work or my passion to their work. So even if you're just changing your entire field. You can say, hey, I did this, but I took this course. It got me really interested in this, this a different field I want to explore. Um, you know, then you can ask if they have open positions and mention that you wanna apply for the PhD later. Because I guess that most people here want to apply for the PhD. So I think this strengthens your email. Like, you tell them you're intentional with your email and everything. And in the end, you can just say, hey, thank you, of course. And this is my resume or my CV. And I'm open for a Zoom meeting if you have time. Um, Oops, sorry. I can tell you guys that from I don't know how many emails I sent, I think I received email back from like 20% of them. It's not that easy, um, but it's possible. You just need to try all the options. Um, okay, documents. So in this following part, I'm gonna just go over the documents you may need to apply for these positions. So first one, of course, CV/resume. Um, Cover letter and recommendation letters. First one, the CV or resume. So this was the CV that got me my position back in 2021, 2022, sorry, 2022. At that time, I was like, I heard a lot of people saying that it shouldn't be more than one page, and I was really strict on that. Like, I was just trying to keep everything very small and fit everything in one page. And now, after 4 years, like now I realize that this is not true. You have some flexibility. If you have more experiences, like you don't need to be so, forced to keep everything in one page. Um, it's not necessary, but of course, always compress your document before you send. We're gonna provide you guys this presentation, and there are the links for everything. There's a link that I recommend that I use a lot to compress my PDFs, so it's not that heavy and it doesn't. There's like less chances to go to spam, so they at least see your email and can open, and everything. Um, but as you can see, I basically didn't have a lot of experience. This was the only experience I had during my research experience during my undergrad, and it was basically during COVID. So, as I said, it was mostly reading and writing. And I did a couple of experiments. It was mostly qPCR. So my skills at that time, it was only qPCR, DNA and RNA manipulation, but that was it. Like it was, I was really um, honest, of course, on my email and on my interview too. Like I don't have a lot of experience, but I want to learn. I'm open to learn. So, just be yourself, I would say. Um, and this is my CV now. Um, I just highlighted in green the titles that I think are important for you guys to have. And I would highly recommend for this type of position, like keep something between your CV and your resume. Like, don't send a 5-page CV because you just finished your undergrad. you know, I don't know, maybe you have a master's degree, but most of the times when you're applying to these positions, you're fresh from undergrad, so there's not really, it's not really necessary to have a 5-page CV. I would say 2 pages are amazing, so something between a resume and a CV. Don't be that specific. Like I would be like here, like be concise with your details on your information, and you know you're gonna give more details during the interview anyways. Um, yes, then cover letter. So we were talking about cold email. So while cold email is a shorter, it's not a document because it's the email itself. It's meant to start a conversation. The cover letter is something more detailed and more formal, and it allows you to explain in very details why you're a strong fit for these positions. So for the applications I showed you guys in the beginning, LinkedIn or carriers or jobs website, most of the times you're gonna need a cover letter. Um, this for the cover letter, 100% one page. Always don't do more than one page. You can follow the same structure, like similar structure that we were discussing on the about the cold emails. But it's basically, I would say, if you already applied for the PhD before, it would be a shorter version of your SOP, of your statement of purpose. Um, but keep it one page always. Another important thing, it's not at all a copy of your CV. It shouldn't be a copy of your CV. That's why you have your CV in your cover letter. Your cover letter should tell a story or your story, where you're coming from, where do you want to go, how your experiences connect with this specific role, and again, be careful with AI. If AI is writing your cover letter, then it's not your story anymore. It's their story. So be careful. Everyone is using it, so you don't want to, you don't want to be another person using it and having just a general cover letter. I left again some resources here. You guys can click and access later. And a general template. Again, I don't recommend following this template. Just just use it as an inspiration. But keep it like that. Like about you and what are you contacting them, or why are you applying to this position? Why did you see this position? Like I found this position through whatever website. I'm interested to apply to this position. Then you're gonna have the main the main part of the cover letter. You can have one or two paragraphs about your story with detailed examples. I worked at this place, I did this and that. I published this paper. You can be very specific. You need to be very specific, actually. Don't be general at all. And then you just give a final statement, say that you were motivated to, develop your skills because you want to apply for the PhD. Here, didn't even mention, but you can also mention, um, and show excitement, show passion. Don't do this just because everyone is doing, and just because it's going to be easier for you to get your PhD. Be passionate about your research. This is a big thing for me. Don't, you know, do something that you love. So when you write something like this, you're gonna just express yourself, show your story, and how are you excited to keep working on that. And like me, I didn't have any experience. Like it was very little, but I really wanted to learn. So this is what I showed to everyone on my documents, on my, my interviews. Okay. Um, Recommendation letter. You're probably gonna need at least two. I think two is a good number. From my experience and from other friends, they never ask for more than two. I think three, more than three is more for a PhD application. Um, but prioritize real connections instead of just job titles. It can be the recommenders can be professors, can be mentors, can be supervisors, PIs, lab managers, postdocs from your lab. Never someone with the same level of you, like never another undergrad, of course. Um, but don't think about, oh, I'm gonna ask this PI from my university because he's very like everyone knows him. He's renowned or whatever. But if they don't know about you, if they can give a detailed examples about your research, then it doesn't value, it's not going to be a good letter. So a strong letter is a letter where they can give really detailed examples. So instead of just Maria is hardworking, no, they want to give examples. She did this, she optimized this assay, which helped this and that in the lab and led to a publication, So it cannot at all be something general. So choose people that know you. Um, yes. Now the part I like the most, the interviews. Um, okay, the interviews can be challenging. So that's why I put here, prepare your thoughts and your answers for possible questions. Come prepared and prepare about your research. I would recommend you guys having like a 2 minute, 1 minute, I would say like two to maybe even more, 4 minutes speech about your research project. Actually, 2 minutes is fine because if they want to know details, they're gonna ask you. Um, Check their lab website, check the papers, read the papers, read at least two papers from that lab in more detail so you can ask real questions. Search about the team. I remember I printed the team page. So I knew when they were interviewing me, I knew who I was talking to. Check what they do for fun in the lab. What's the philosophy of the lab? And just prepare yourself for some questions you might get. For example, what's your motivation for applying to this position? If you don't have this answer ready, it's hard. So be prepared. Oh, because I want to do a PhD and I need to, not that I need to fill gaps on my CV, don't say that, but like I want to increase my experience, build my knowledge and research. Um, you know, what makes you interested in this topic specifically? When it was my interview, they asked, why do you want to study cancer? Some people are just curious. Some people have like a more emotional like thing connection with the topic, so you can just tell them. You can be a little personal. I think it's okay. Um, what are the techniques you're really confident with? Can you train other people? Because sometimes people put a list of techniques and then you ask them, okay, so do it or train other people, and then they don't know. Um, so be prepared to get this questions. Also, examples of when you know challenges or teamwork examples. And I would recommend for you to follow up in 5 days, depending if it's like between weekends. You can think about it, but follow up after the interview. Um, and write things down. It's fine to have notes. If you're doing the interview in person, okay, you're not gonna have. Maybe you can bring a notebook. I think it's fine. But just prepare your thoughts and your answers. And ask questions. It's really, really important. That's why I said go to the lab website, search about them, have questions about them. So you can ask. You can ask specifically about their research. Oh, I saw that you researched this thing specifically. Like, can you tell me more about it? Or about the RA position in general? How's the daily routine at the lab for a research associate, a research assistant? So like, what are they expecting from you? You can ask more general things. So I was applying from Brazil to New York, and I asked them like, how's it like to live close to the lab? Is it expensive? Like, is my salary gonna be enough? Um, and it's just to have a conversation with them. Of course, they're interviewing you, but you're also interviewing them because you're gonna work with them for like 8 hours a day. So you need to know them too. Um, and when can I expect to hear back from you? This you're gonna mostly ask for the PI on your first interview. Again, smile, be friendly, be polite. Don't ask weird questions, of course. Think about things first. So be prepared. And that's it. And now the last part. We have less than 5 minutes. I think we have enough time. About international students. So international students have a different, it's a little bit different from Americans for two reasons. First is the visa. So if you're an international, if you need a sponsored position for them to sponsor your visa, to pay for your visa, make it clear on the first contact that you are an international applicant. Why I'm saying that? Because some people, like on the cover letter, they don't want to say, "Oh, I'm from this university in Brazil." Like sometimes they just don't mention. They think, "Oh my God, I'm not gonna say because then they're not gonna want to want to interview me." But if they don't want to hire internationals because they don't have money for that to pay for the visa, um, you know, there's nothing you can do. From my experience, I was under the H-1B visa, which is the specialty occupations. I have other friends that were also under this position, but the other option that I've seen people on this type of visa is the J1. I can't really say the difference between them. Like I know that the H-1B, you can extend for a longer period, for up to 6 years, and the J1 you don't have that flexibility, but the H-1B is a little more complicated. So it depends from the company or the university, the role. Sometimes I see people under the research research technician more on the J1, and more like research associate specialist on the H1B. But there's no rule for that. Like I don't even know actually. But there's links for everything here. You can search and but don't I mean what you need to know is if they sponsor a visa. If they do, it doesn't really matter if it's a H1B or a J1. Um, be prepared. It can take time. From my experience, my H1B visa took 8 months. I had friends that with the same visa that took, I think, 4 months, and with the J1, less than two. So just be prepared. It can take time. Another thing that international students are going to need are the credential evaluation most of the times, mainly for the H-1B visa. I think this is attached to the visa. It's to apply, it's for them to sponsor a visa, they need this credential evaluation. For the J1, I don't think you need. But if you're applying for a PhD and you are an international, you need to have your credential evaluation anyway. So just get this done as soon as possible so you have it ready because it takes a while. I think minimum of 2 months, at least from this company that I did. I recommend this company because I used this and I know a lot of people that also used. And you basically need your diploma and your original transcripts sent directly from your institution to Wes, to this company. But that's the main difference from internationals, I think. Yeah, that's it. Okay, I know that the presentation is was very long. I hope that you guys could follow. Um, Again, we're gonna give you the slides and all the links and all the templates and everything. But key takeaways from this presentation is please spend time building your connections. Whether if it's on LinkedIn or Twitter or Blue Sky, whatever, or even in person on your university. Build your connections. You need to be seen. Do not simply copy templates. Never. Just change your name. No, don't do that. Don't do that. And be careful with AI. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be ready, but you need to be proactive. You need to put yourself out there, shoot your shot, just give it a try, and you're gonna find your opportunity. Uh, you can be just one DM away from your opportunity. You never know. So that's it. I just wanted to finish with this quote that luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. So as I said in the beginning, I sent DM'd my PI, and we had a first interview 3 days after. So be prepared. You can have a lot of opportunities in life, but if you're not prepared, you're not gonna get them. That's it. I'm happy to take any questions, and I'm also available through email if you have any additional questions. Thank you so much.
You, Maria, that was great. If you don't mind, just drop your email then in the webinar chat for our attendees. And so we do have a number of questions here, and we're gonna do our best to just get through them. But in the event that we can't get through everything, and you still have a question that you like answered, it sounds like Maria is going to be more than willing to respond to an email. So for the first question, someone asked, "How do you not get filtered when they list GPA requirements?" So I guess did you have a lot of experience? Like the GPA seemed like a big requirement for all of these positions you were applying to.
Wait, no, and I didn't really have a big GPA, guys. It was 3.5. Um, I never saw requirements for RA positions. So there are, if you have of course, if you're applying to a place and they require a minimum, there's not really much you can do. So just apply to other places. There's other opportunities looking for you. I would say don't be, so attached to one place if they do ask for a minimum. And yeah.
It's the earliest you can start looking for a research associate position after undergrad. Would you recommend starting in your junior year or starting in the senior year?
I would recommend to start on your senior year, of course. But start building your network since the beginning, since the first day you start your undergrad. Connect with people. Again, be seen. Whenever something opens, they're gonna think about you. So just 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 be prepared. But start sending the emails a little before you graduate. I think you can start like 3 months before you graduate. Yeah.
Um, so when you were talking about the CV and compression of the file, I think someone just needed some clarification. Do you recommend compressing the file or actually making the content more concise?
So if I would recommend keep 2 pages, as I said. You can like there's some flexibility, but do 2 pages. Don't be too much attached to one page. As I said, 2 pages are good. And I'm referring to compressing the file itself. So if you tried the most you could to make it concise, uh, and it's getting too tight or like it's enough, that's fine. Just compress it. So the file itself it's smaller. I think it reduces like 30% of the size. So, it's just helpful. Yeah.
So we have an attendee that says um, regarding the double emailing professors. They were in a conversation with a researcher and professor at the end, and at the end of the email chain, she was invited to apply, or she invited them to apply.
Mhm.
Um, and so they did, but then they never received the follow up after.
Mhm.
And they're considering sending a follow up, but it's just wondering uh, what advice you have regarding this.
I would definitely send a follow-up email. If you already send your information, your documents through email, I guess was an application through email. I would wait, I think 5 days, as I said, 5 to 7 days, 1 week, and email them back. Hey, just following up. Is there any, you know, updates or anything? Do you need any other information from me? Um, PIs are always busy. Sometimes they just don't see your email. You know, but you need to keep on top of these things. Yeah, be on top.
All right, since you tried out so many different avenues, how did you manage the rec letter requests? Was it mainly professors who taught you in class, or was there some PI involvement for previous research? How do you
Uh,
navigate asking for several rec letters?
no, I didn't ask for several. So guys, the only time I needed a recommendation letter was for this one place that I did the interview and she asked. So sometimes they can ask just for your references in the beginning, name and email, maybe phone number, but the recommendation letter they're gonna ask in the end after you interview with the PI, after you interview with the team, then they're interested in you. They just want to double check your information if if everything is correct. Then they were gonna ask you for the references for the letters. So this is in the end. I just did it once, and I asked for my previous boss in the industry that I said I was working on, and my PI at the time um, during my undergrad. Yeah. If one thing important, if you're in international and people are not used to writing letters, you can give them a template or just say, "Oh, you can mention this thing." Sometimes they just don't remember, but you're like, "Oh, do you remember that day we did that thing or like that experiment?" You can mention this thing. I think it's gonna be really good for me. I am providing you this template. You can follow, you know, don't write yourself, but you can help them.
It's
Oh,
Twitter and Blue Sky, but we know that you don't really know use Blue Sky. Was there any specific thread or hashtags that you follow that seem very useful?
no,
Um,
not at all. I didn't follow any. I was not really on Twitter before, so I just created for that to find positions. So what I did mainly was searching on the tab open positions. Sometimes you're gonna, if you do it now, you're gonna find some positions. Um, Sometimes it's like old, like 2 months ago. You can search by the latest. Just keep doing it regularly. Just have the habit, and keep track of everything. Keep track. If you DM someone on Twitter, don't send them a cold email at the same time. Not if they're not connected. Like they're gonna be like, okay, they're just applying everywhere. They're just going crazy. Don't do that.
All right. Let's see. Considering that you had little research experience before your RA experience, what do you think made you stand out and get that interview?
As I said, passion and openness to learn. My since the beginning, the aim was getting a PhD and justify why you have your gap. I was working in the industry. I didn't have 50 hours on my day. Like there was no way to do everything. So I just told them, hey, I was working in the industry with something completely different. I during COVID I could do a little research because my classes were remote, but I don't have wet lab experience. Just a little, very, very, very little. So I'm open to learn. And we're we can learn anything. This is not the biggest deal. This is not a big deal at all. For some positions they want the people with the nice, good CV with all the experience, all the skills and everything. But sometimes they just wanted someone that they can teach, and then this person's gonna do the way they want. So, it's not really like it's not really a bad thing. You just need to justify why you don't have experience.
So, how do cold emails to the PIs actually perform? This attendee has seen good success, but is wondering if you've seen one response, what makes one email get a response versus another being ignored.
Because a lot of people use general templates, use AI to write the email, don't read their research, don't read their papers. Just send an email and be like, "Oh, I looked at your website and I'm curious about cancer. I want to, it's not like that. You need to be specific." As I said, there was a one email I sent was exactly, "Oh, I learned about you. I heard about you from this live. I don't remember if it was YouTube live or Zoom. I don't remember. But I was there. I was there and I was so interested on what you're talking about. I was so interested. I'm so excited to keep working on that. Um, Sometimes you can just email them and be like, "Hey, I just finished my undergrad. Like, what are your what would you recommend me to do?" Just, you know, build your connection, like start a conversation. And I think sometimes people send big emails, like use templates and big emails that, sometimes it's not really necessary. That's why you have your CV, you have your cold email that you're gonna write briefly, and then you're gonna have your interview to be more specific, to go more into details. So I think you just need to get their attention at first, and then, once they get back to you, then you're fine. But don't go crazy again. Don't write too much and don't focus on the templates. Tell your story.
Maybe the last question, depending on how quickly you can answer it. As someone that also did industry before deciding on academia, what are the main differences in the interviews? It sounds like they're similar, but possibly more personal. Personal.
Oh yeah, it was really different, really different. The biggest difference for me was interviewing the team. I never did that in my entire life, and I got so confused when my PI at the time, when she got back to me and said, "Oh, I wanted to meet my team," and I was like, "Why?" So I think the biggest difference for me is that, and the first interview I had with the PI was very short. It was a 20-minute. It was really straightforward. She just wanted to know if I was real, maybe if I could speak English because I was an international. So be prepared. Um, and what was the plan, and if she could help or if she was interested in my help. And then the main thing for me was the interview with everyone. Like now I'm a PhD student, and even during the RE position, I interviewed a lot of people. So now I'm used to that. But yeah, at first it can be a little intimidating, but just be, I think for the team interview, it can be more personal. You can, as I said, ask general things, ask about the area, ask about them. Just don't be awkward. Don't be, just be yourself again. This I think it's a big difference for me.
We'll do one more. How do you recommend reaching out to PIs in person at your institution if you don't know them?
Do you recommend it in person? In person, if oh, I get nervous. You mean knocking on the door and talking to them in person? I think, you can just show up to the lab, or you can attend their seminar, or if they're not, maybe they're not presenting the seminar, but they're there, they're asking questions. You can just in the end just be like, "Oh, hey, I know it's intimidating. I had a really time with this type of interactions too, a hard time, but just just start a conversation. Just think you're just talking to a person, a normal person. It's not that hard. If you think it's not that hard, it's just someone, you're just talking to them and you're just expressing interest. And if they have an open position, they're gonna be happy to, tell you. So just be like, oh, I'm interested. I remember a day I had a seminar um, in person. I was doing a course somewhere else, and I there was this PI that I had already cold emailed him, and he didn't get back to me, and I was just like, oh, that was in the end of the seminar. I was just like, oh, that's really interesting. I'm really excited about this, and then you connect. Oh, I have this past experience with, just ask them something, and then start a conversation from there. Yeah.
Well, we are at time, and thank you so much for all the advice and the presentation. Again, to all of our attendees, everything will be made available to you, both recording as well as the presentation and some of the links and CV examples and things that Maria would like to have made available to you. So just be on the lookout for that. To our GSMI attendees. Um, and yeah, thank you so much. I hope you all enjoyed and have a great day.
Yeah, thank you guys. And if you need anything, I am more than available to help. And have a good day, have a good week. Bye.